If you were recently handed a card that looks like this, you talked to the creator of a new podcast that's going around the country talking to people. The creator of that podcast is in Great Falls doing just that. Ken Stearns describes himself as a bit of a foreigner in his own country. He spent 20 years in Asia before making his way back to the States this year. Now he is on a new mission, finding people in their stories through a new podcast he created called The Jar. He has strangers pull questions from a jar, and that gets the conversation going. We played a friendly game of ping pong and talked about what this trip means to him.
I started with the idea of writing letters to my father. My father died when I was 28, and there were a lot of life moments where, it would have been really great to call my dad.
The Jar will take Stearns to 111 cities across the continental 48. Great Falls was his fourth stop, so he has quite the trip ahead of him. He says he's seen a lot more than he expected in just the first 4 places, encountering many different perspectives and walks of life, which is exactly what he's looking for.
I'm being caught really a little bit off guard, and the impact that the interview is making on some people is pretty profound. I'm getting some beautiful messages back.
Stearns doesn't have an exact timeline of when he'll complete the 111 stops, but his next stop is in Montana, down in Helena. In Great Falls, Asher Lined, MTN News.
So Sunday I was driving around. I had some appointments, and then I got canceled. I got canceled on Sunday. So I was driving around doing some bee stuff, and I went by the cathedral, that beautiful, ginormous, like European cathedral in Helena. And I drove by there to get some photos, and the bells were ringing.
Oh, nice.
Church time. So I jumped in and I got the 11 o'clock mass. Haven't been to mass in forever. Then I went to light a candle, which I usually do for my mom. If I'm in a church or near a church, I light a candle for my mom and dad. And then sure enough, I get up close and all the candles are lit except for 2. Wow. Right in the front row, right next to each other.
I think that spirit, what I call God, I guess, my interpretation of it, is it talks to you in little ways throughout your day, and it's very personal and unique to each individual, like how you communicate with, the spirit side of things.
There are signs everywhere. Like the universe sends you signs constantly for different paths to take, and it's up to you to decipher which ones you're going to take. If you start to be aware of that, there are signs.
Yeah, and yesterday I really did, those moments of prayer and reflection in the church. I kind of committed yesterday, right? I'm all in, and I should commit. I'm committing to it to go all the way through and see who are those 444 lives, and it may take us, 500 days, and that's cool. I think we've kind of got to a good spot on that. We'll do all the interviews. That's important, but how fast we do it, and probably not as important. Heading just coming out of the Bighorn Mountains here in Montana, Big Sky, Montana, Bighorn Mountains. Everything's big in Montana, and man, what a view! Coming down into the valley, capital city. And I'm going to hit my 20th interview. And it's going to be hard to imagine it. I'm not super good at math, but I think we're getting close to 5% of the way. That's kind of wild. Can't wait to get in, get checked in, unpack, check my batteries, check my cards, upload some audio from the interview this morning, get some video up, and take a rest and get ready for the weekend. Hopefully I'll get some chance to sit down with some people in the jar. See you soon.
I came across the jar on Facebook, and I'm in recovery. So one of the biggest things for me to stay on the recovery journey that I'm on is being proactive. And so I've been sharing my story. By doing that, being proactive, I've been sharing my story because I feel like the way to heal myself after years of trauma and addiction and imprisonment is to share my story. And I'm running a group now at a place called Our Place, homeless addicts, and I can share bits and pieces of my stories with that group. So just being really proactive for myself and for others is very important. But I'm just now getting my life together at 41 with 15 months of sobriety. And so today I know who I was, I know who I am, and I know who I can be. And that's just how that's what I focus on.
Is karma an energy?
I'm not too sure it's an energy, but I can tell you it's a real thing. I feel I in my addiction and my convict days, I did a lot of people dirty. I used, I abused, I stole, I did whatever I had to do to get what I wanted. And I have paid. I've gotten some bad karma back, but today I can tell you that I've done a lot of good things, and a lot of good things come back to me. Like, for instance, this house. I lived in a transitional center for 6 months. It was above a homeless shelter here in Helena, but I got to be in the women's and single women and families portion of it upstairs, and that doesn't usually happen either. But when it was time to look for a place, I was very discouraged because I'm a 13-time convicted felon. I have horrible credit. I have no good landlord history. And last week, they said to me, because of you, we'll now consider taking, more people with your story and your circumstances.
How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, in case I need to call God.
You got a rotary phone.
I was given this God phone by Durham, Erica. So she rumbled
Erica.
through. Yeah, so I can call God if I need to call God.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's some great stuff in that sharing. Some powerful ideas. Okay, here we go. Share one thing you should leave in the past today for a better tomorrow. So, one thing we should leave in the past.
This is a tough one. Fear.
Interesting. Okay.
What's the opposite of love? Fear. And I wouldn't be where I am today if I were fearful. Everything I've done has, resulted from taking leaps of faith and not imposing my will on the universe.
Yeah.
Has God ever came in a situation and said, is this okay with you if I do this? Would we ever say yes if some of these events that have come to pass in our lives that we've seen as true blessings after the fact, hindsight's 2020, would we ever say yes to it if it were presented to us as like a rational thought or like an idea? We'd have been like, no way in hell would we go that route. But that's where God moves mountains, is in those things that we least expect. And so we just don't know. We can't pretend like we have a plan. I don't have a plan. That's how I don't know how I got here.
So I interviewed Erica's 13-year-old daughter for 30 minutes.
Nice.
Interesting.
Do you know what to expect when you pray for help?
No. Usually I don't know what to expect, because sometimes if you pray, like if I pray personally, sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, and it feels like, oh, like nobody's listening to me. But then something will happen very unexpected, and it will help you, even in a way you never expected it to help you. Like, just even if you're going through something and you pray that you, like, it'll end, or you just pray for help with this thing, maybe you won't expect it. Maybe it will bring you somebody to support you rather than like ending what's happening. And it's just kind of, you never know what to expect, but it's more like just expect that you will get helped in some sort of way. So yeah.
Pretty good wisdom for 13. Okay. A little smile on on the face this time. Wow. Okay. Is there a physical cost, a health cost of carrying around the past and not letting it go?
Yes, because I feel like if you're carrying around like the past and what people have done to you and what you've done to people, it can cause a lot of stress on you, and stress can cause a lot of mental and physical things,
Mhm.
and it's just not good for you. As well as if you're thinking about something so much, it's going to be hard for you to do other things.
Walking. So back to the what you said, Kelly, about the idea of the show is to find this common ground. And I think it is even way more important than I ever imagined, because the shit that people are going through on a day-to-day basis, the struggles that they've got just to live through a day with most of the people that we've met. I mean, it's way bigger than the shit we're fighting about on Instagram and the TV news. The shit we're fighting about is ridiculous compared to people's real life struggles.
Well, if you look at anybody, everyone's
Yeah.
going through something that you may never know about. You could see somebody and you perceive them to be this happy, just go with the flow person, but inside they might be feeling something completely different.
What do you think has been your biggest challenge so far?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Timing and balance with everything.
Yeah, probably the biggest challenge has been, I think, is managing the content, right? The amount of content. So making sure I'm producing the right stuff. You guys are good coaches, kind of steering me in the right direction. And then it's that absorbing it and internalizing it. I'm that kind of I think we're all those kind of people. Take the good, listen to direction, take the direction, but letting it cook, plant those seeds, and kind of, getting better with the, still the camera is still my nemesis. The van camera is still my nemesis. That is my biggest challenge. You mother.
Stream the Jar podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, or better yet, join myself and the Jar for a conversation in your city.